Hello and welcome to this week's Teachers Hub podcast. I'm Angie Beck and today I'm joined by expert in teaching and learning Nick Dunn, who is here to talk to us about his views regarding STEM language teaching in science. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks, Angie. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Nick, you've been teaching science for around 12 years now, right? What are the challenges that face students in the science classroom?
Yes, that's right. I've had experience teaching in schools in the UK and in Spain where English was not the first language of most of my students. In response to your question, I think that one of the most challenging things for students can be the scientific terminology. They have to remember, understand, and use words that they aren't familiar with in their everyday lives. It can be very difficult for some students to get used to working with unfamiliar vocabulary.
How interesting. Yes, I'd never really thought about how science teachers have to teach students lots of new words too.
Yes, it's not always easy though. In fact, a lot of teachers find that they don't have much class time available to work on learning new vocabulary. Some scientific terms are tricky to understand and others are commonly used but have a different meaning. For example, when someone asks how much something weighs, they are expecting us to tell them the mass of the item in grams or kilograms rather than the weight in newtons. So, getting a firm grasp of the scientific definition of words is important, but can be very confusing.
So, how do we introduce this new vocabulary to students in the classroom?
Well, a lot of teachers just give their students a list of keywords with definitions at the start of a topic and ask them to learn them by heart. It's not easy for the students, and some of them struggle to understand how the words are used.
I see. Although, surely giving the students a list of key words is very helpful.
It depends. Sometimes it can be difficult to write a good definition. The problem with only teaching limited keywords with every topic is that it doesn't teach students how to respond when they see other unfamiliar terms.
I see your point, but what is the alternative? We can't teach students every word.
No, we can't. You're right. But let's look at it this way. Have you ever heard the saying, give a man a fish and he will eat for a day, but teach a man to fish and he will eat for the rest of his life? Well, a similar idea applies here. If we teach students the common roots of words in science, then we can help them to try to interpret words that they've never encountered before. For example, teaching students that the root bio means living thing and the root logi means the study of, they can now discover on their own that the word biology means the study of living things. They can now also look at other words ending in logi and have some understanding about those too.
That's fascinating. So, do you have any tips about how teachers can get this across to their students?
Yes, of course. My favorite thing to do is create a wall display at the start of the year with the roots of the words and what they mean. This means students can refer to it whenever they like. You can also teach students how to break down words and show them some common roots. Then give them some exercises testing their understanding and even asking them to use what they've learnt about word roots to define words that they haven't learnt about in class.
Those sound like great ideas. Thank you so much for coming in today, Nick. I know that this will have certainly given lots of our listeners something to think about while they're in the classroom.
Thanks for inviting me along.